بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. The Sheikh is making dua. Say Ameen inshallah. Ameen. آمين. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. We're going to switch tonight inshallah to mention a different one of the stars of the hadith in the history of Islam and Muslims, Imam Muslim ibn al-Hajjaj, may Allah be pleased with him and have mercy on him. And previously we have discussed the life of al-Bukhari, and we have said from his students was Imam Muslim, and as known that Imam Muslim, he is among the northeast of Persia, of Iran, in Nisabur, still in Nishabur nowadays. And it used to be a center of hadith and sunnah. May Allah bring it back to be a pillar of sunnah. And he was born in the 6th year after 200 of Al-Hijrah. What made that 2nd century very special, and the 3rd one, the spread of al-hadith to its maximum, and the interest of al-hadith was very at its peak at that time. It is the century of the hadith, and it is the centuries where all the school of thoughts that we know nowadays are established. Allah Azza wa Jal has given Imam Muslim that he was born and he was in an environment that is full of Islamic culture and knowledge, and prosperity was widespread at that time. And it is just like Boston to United States. It is the pillar of school of thoughts, and in that time of the Prophet ﷺ, as we said before, Imam al-Bukhari, he was born before Muslim by about 13 years, and they did meet, and we're going to discuss how Imam Muslim, he learned from al-Bukhari when Bukhari went to Nisabur before he moved to Qashqand, so when he was 12 years old, then he started seeking the knowledge of al-hadith. And he was a little bit late from al-Bukhari, but when he reached 14th years old, he went for Hajj, and then he started moving in the countries seeking the knowledge of al-hadith. And the people of hadith, as you know, they moved through the countries, the towns, so they could learn the hadith from those who narrated. So Al-Iraq was the treasure for hadith, and it is the place to where the hadith for the narrators and others, because of course it was the center. We ask Allah to preserve it. It was a lot of science It was the capital of the hadith and the science of Islam. So he went to Mecca and Medina and Iraq, then he went to Egypt and Sham and Ray, and he got his share of the hadith, as we're going to discuss, until Allah Azza wa Jalla opened his heart and he compiled more than 300 hadith from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Half of what Al-Bukhari compiled. And as we have said before, that Imam al-Bukhari, to understand his greatness, he did not get this status except for Allah gave him from piety before, from the good conduct and character that made him deserving that status to take the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, and made his heart as very pure to the guidance of Allah Azza wa Jal. And the same thing exists for Imam Muslim, who was in very high character and conduct. And one of the amazing that story that was mentioned about him, and this is what people have mentioned, he did not mention it about himself. This is what people said about him, that he lived and he never backbited any person. It was not known that he ever cussed or cursed anyone, and he never hit a human being in his hand ever. Imam Muslim, he lived 55 years only. Imagine, in the first 5 years, of course, you're an infant child, but 50 years of his life, half a century, he's never known to ever cuss or curse anyone or backbiting anyone. And he is the son of the hadith, and that was the same status of Al-Bukhari too. Like when he start talking about the people and their character, like this narrator is a liar, or this one is not biased, or this is allowed, by the way, this is not backbiting, because if there is a Sharia interest and you cannot get except for that, then this is not backbiting, this is allowed. And the Sheikh is going to mention two lines in poetry, saying that backbiting is not backbiting, it's 6 things. Someone who warn, and someone who clarify, as and the one who asks for help to remove an evil thing. He mentions 6 things. Sometimes it is an obligatory that you might get a reward for it. It all depends on the intention, but we want to warn that you have to have the intention, because it could be a right that it is something that you want, but it is something you try to backbite somebody. So you might look like you are someone who's warning people, but you try to backbite someone. Like someone complained to a judge, or a woman complain about her husband that he cussed her cursor. This is not backbiting. This is a person who'd been oppressed and asking for judgment. And one who warns someone, want to warn you from about this one, don't sit with him, because there is a certain thing, so be careful. Or someone wants to ask, do I trade or do not? or there's something in the character of someone, and the one who asks for fatwa, when someone asks a fatwa, so left an inheritance, and maybe there's backbiting in it, but you're just trying to get the fatwa, and the one who clarify who is this person, and someone will answer of something special. Oh, this is the one who is blind, or you could say that he's the deaf person, or the one with the red hair, and this is something like we always say, oh, he's from the redhead family, or the this is not backbiting. And also what they said about the clarification, but even in that they say so and so is very light practice in the religion, or someone who is mixing in the religion, but it is required. But with this is the sunnah is preserved. Like when you clarify that someone is a person of bad character, then you can't take the hadith from him. So that's why it is important to clarify this person. Or it is better to say, people said this much on him. So they attributed the saying to someone. We did not say this on them. Or you could say that I heard, or it was reached to me, or it came to me that I have this news, this is the character of this so and so. So it is not that you are making this claim, you just heard it. And this is the character of the people of good character. They don't have the intention of backbiting, so they choose from the vocabulary what could help them into staying away from backbiting. So imagine a person who never had cussed or cursed or said anything that's improper. So you can understand why Allah Azza wa Jal gave him the status, because of his character. So he deserved to be among the narrators of the hadith, of the because his tongue is not full of disgust, where it is pure. So he deserved to be among the narrators of the hadith of Rasulullah. Like a lot of people say, how do I memorize the Quran? The first advice, first of all, stay away from the sins. Keep your tongue from anything that is evil. And same thing about your ears. So when you hear the words of Allah, it will enter your heart and you will memorize it. And if you want to memorize it, Allah will make your tongue easy. And the same thing of the hadith of the Prophet. So this is the piety. Someone who spent 50 years of his adulthood or on his life, and sometimes you go to a meeting nowadays, 50 minutes, you don't guarantee that you can guarantee your tongue from not back somebody or cursing. Nor would he guarantee that his ears will stop from hearing something Allah has forbidden. And this is when you hear the life of the scholars like this. And this is something we learn from our scholars, from our teachers. Always look what is the success in their lives. Where is the success came from? So you could reach that success that they had. So once you understand that, that's what's going to make you follow on the path of those who were before us, and to hold your limbs and your tongue, your eyes, your hearing from anything that Allah forbids. That's what gives you the high character, the good manners. This was going to purify your heart, where you will be able to receive the words of Allah, the words of the Prophet ﷺ, and accept them in your heart. From the amazing thing that was said about Muslim, that his character is humbleness, and this is the character of all the scholars. Every time they increase in knowledge, their humbleness to Allah is very great. There's not much difference between him and Bukhari. There's like 10 or 12 years. So almost the same generation. But he was looking at al-Bukhari as if he's an old man, like he's a prince or king. So every time he meets al-Bukhari, he will welcome and be cheerful, and then he will kiss his head out of respect. And one time, someone came to al-Bukhari and he mentioned the hadith of the Kafarat al-Majlis. He said, have you seen in this hadith anything more beautiful in narration? Except it has a problem. And he showed him what is the Allah in one of the sentences. So with Imam Muslim, he was shaken. He said, what is this, mashallah? What is this expertise? So he told him this famous saying, leave me until I kiss your legs. They are the teacher of teachers and the master of the narrators, and the one that the expert into the flaws of any hadith. You are the leader of an hadith. This is the Imam Muslim. Among everybody, he is the great, one of the greatest people in narrating the hadith. When these people were humble, Allah Azza wa Jal raised their status among people and among even humanity, where we still mention their names, and Allah inshallah will reserve their name till eternity, till Allah capture earth again, or life again. When we hear that the two Sheikhs, al-Bukhari and Muslim, has narrated this hadith, it is like a seal that this is an authentic hadith. Or if it is Bukhari or Muslim, it is authenticated. And this came from their humbleness and their great character toward Allah Azza wa Jal, and their purity in their intention and their extreme glorifying and respect to the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he, a Muslim, he traveled in the cities, and one of his students, one of the people, it is Ahmad ibn Salama al-Nisamburi, who is very famous, or you could hear a lot about him in the hadith books. This man, one time, he asked this Muslim to make it easy for him and to compare for him from the hadith what is authenticated. It will be the purity of what he knows. He said, from all these 300,000 that you memorize, find me the best thing I could to memorize. And he wrote in his introduction, when you ask and I compiled to you. So he compiled his Sahih, his book, in 15 years. It took him 15 years to compile them, and he wrote it all in Naisabur. He had all his books, so he used to go after every hadith. And last time someone asked me, I want to discuss an important issue that somebody asked me last time. Al-Imam Muslim, as we said before, And he said this in his Sahih: I chose it to you out of 300,000 hadith. The number of a hadith that is not repeated in his Sahih, 3033. Let's say 3000 to make it easy. And from the repeated one is 8,000 except 15. Let's say 8,000. Three 7,800. The one that repeated is 3,000. Let's say it's 3,000. So in the year, so it will be 20 hadith a day. Divided, I mean, if there's 355 a year on 20, every hadith he used to take him 18 days to write it down. It's like 2 days to write each hadith. So Al-Bukhari, that's not repeated, 2,600. Or let's say 3,000. Same. And it's sometimes 5 words. Someone who claimed some people they say don't, but the hadith he didn't compile it. He had it. He had memorized it. It's written. He just put it in his book. Allah bless them, and the knowledge and the fiqh and the understanding. And look at Imam al-Nawawi. How long he lived? Only 42 years old. If you look at, he started his writing when he was 20 years. So every day he used to write 50 pages. He used to recite and then they will write down. So just like the example of everyone in front of me, write everything. That's why I said it was written, and they brought it to Imam Nawawi. He did not like it because he didn't look at them. He said, look at what. I said, this went east and west. And there was like 15 series of books. But the point here, who want to put doubt in this great effort of Al-Bukhari or Muslim, he's putting doubt in his own truthfulness. Whoever has that kind of he himself has a flaw in his faith. And I tell you this statement, I want you to remember, by Allah, that there is no one except him. If someone make doubt in your own father, who is your father and mother, it is better than to make doubt in this hadith, in the authenticity of Sahih Muslim or Al-Bukhari. And as I said before, that Al-Imam Abu Ma'al-Juwayni, he used to say in the two truthful books, if a person swore to divorce, that everything in the she is not divorced. Why? Because the whole Ummah of Islam is beginning and end. And the majority, in the vast people of knowledge, they all agreed that the authenticity of these two books. When we talk about Bukhari or Muslim, it's not about the personality of al-Bukhari or Muslim. It has nothing to do with them themselves. But it is that these books are accepted by where the status of this books came, not because Bukhari is the memorizer, no, because the whole Ummah accepted this from him. It's not out of arrogance, because they are a people of knowledge. They have accepted this. So all the generations before and after, they all agree of the purity of the book of al-Bukhari or Muslim. And there is, in this last 1400 years, you have a lot of ways of people trying to put doubt in people's heart. Someone will say that al-Bukhari started 15. If he didn't understand the hadith, fine. So be careful of the people who put doubts in the authenticity of al-Bukhari or Muslim. We don't take this randomly. No, but there is a science behind it. Those who have knowledge, they understand when this. If somebody wants to challenge with science, let them come to science. But if they, whatever they want to challenge you, they don't know nothing in this life or in the hereafter. Those who Allah Azza wa Jal has blinded their eyes. And you know why? We said, what Allah gave Imam Muslim? His humbleness and his purity of his tongue. So if you had that bad tongue, then there is a disease in your heart. Don't think that a person is prevented the guidance by his own wish. No. Allah prevented him as a punishment, because what evil that this person has kept inside of his heart, that is full of hatred. Don't think a person is going to be prevented from Allah's guidance because of a choice that you made. No, he will be prevented from it, and he is oppressed. Allah give it to whomever he wish and take it from he wish. Allah said, whomever is purified, he is purifying himself. Allah will not misguide you out of arrogantly or evilly, no. But when Allah, out of His knowledge, knows that this person has bad, evil thoughts, then Allah will prevent him because of what He knew from his sincerity. So that person needs to rush to repentance to Allah Azza wa Jal and ask the science from its original forms, and this is not an easy thing to do. It is very hard to, this is not a matter of to say this is a pure book or not, or Bukhari is a genius or not genius. No, this is higher than their character. Whomever denied the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, the people of Sunnah, they said it's like as if it is something extra. No, this is the inspiration from Allah Azza wa Jal that He put in His tongue of His Prophet ﷺ. And whomever put doubts in it, he have a problem with his own religion. This is the person that you are fearful that Allah makes him die in disbelief in Allah. And this is what we say. And you know, this masjid is in the medium and staying away from any extreme. This is what we take in this masjid, and we take follow our teachers in this masjid, Dr. Salah and so on. But this is a very dangerous issue. Like the person who don't know that he had cancer, if he don't catch himself early, he will die. And we fear that he will be among the disbelievers. So my advice to you to stay away from the person who is busy with this life. How you run away from him, just like you run away from the lion. You know, the lion is very oppressed and he will take your life. The same thing, this will take your own faith and he will destroy you. When someone put doubt on the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, then you should know that this person has cancer, he has illness in his heart. Don't listen to him. Don't go to YouTube and is this true? Al-Bukhari has. Who are you to even put doubts in this matter? So don't stay with those because you don't want you don't want to be like them. The person of innovation, you don't sit with him. They used to say in the books, and you don't even look at his face. Maybe you look at his face and it will be affecting your heart. So this is very dangerous. Are we discussing in Bukhari whether issues? Yes, but it has its own avenues when we discuss this hadith and that hadith. And there is rules and guidance and conditions on how you follow. And you learn from the schools that you know is moderation. And there's a hadith that will be make you have gray hair. Whenever I wanted to study my masters, I wanted to go into hadith, but then I learned that it is bigger than me to surround it. The hadith, it's a major, it's like an ocean. You give it all you have and he will give you a little bit. It's like 10 times. You can spend all your life and you cannot cover it. It is more bigger than what you could imagine. It has 7 branches just in the origin of hadith. The Tirajim, the Rijal, the corrections, the narration. It's amazing. That's why I encourage my brothers, learn how they used to narrate the hadith. It's not that easy. These people, they spend their life and learn the hadith. You know how Usam Muslim died? I'll finalize with this. It was said that Imam Muslim, he was in his place after Isha, and he used to talk to people, even if wherever he used to sell garments. So one time he was in the masjid after Isha, so someone asked him about the hadith he did not know. So he went to his house and he told their family, don't enter me at all after Isha. He closed the door. So his wife told him, we got a gift of dates. So he could fight sleepiness, he'll eat the dates. So he spent the whole night looking on this hadith. Then he found it, and then he authenticated, then he died. That was his concern in life. He could not sleep or to feel this, and there's a hadith that he did not know. So he died after he authenticated that hadith, after he looked in the sunnah of the Prophet. And nowadays in 3 seconds he'll get you a video, and he wants to get 200 hundreds of years of memorizations of the best generation. We'll continue on Thursday.